So I have 4 books to recommend for you today, all by the same author. So you're getting a bumper pack of recommendations today. My name's Sherry Forsyth. I'm a peak performance coach, and I'm doing a series on recommended books that can change your life. So the author that I'm recommending today is Brene Brown. She is the most amazing woman, and reading her books can certainly be life-changing. So she's actually written 6 books. The first one is quite researchy and academic, so it's more heavier reading, so I'm not going to recommend that book. But the other 4 books by Brene Brown are so good because the theme that runs through them is for you to live authentically, exactly who you are, not trying to pretend anything, in fact. And so the first book, called The Gifts of Imperfection, is a book that shows us how if we are really authentic, we have to realize that we actually make mistakes, that we're not perfect, and hence the gifts of being imperfect. It takes a lot of pressure out of our lives when we are just as we are, not only for ourselves but also for our friends. So the Gifts of Imperfection talks about being real, being honest, being human, because in being human, we absolutely will know that we're making mistakes. The book that followed The Gifts of Imperfection is Daring Greatly. And so the theme in this book is, if you dare to live with your gifts of imperfection, recognize maybe that you're not so perfect, that you're making mistakes, what can happen is we can have an all fall down. Brene's was very dramatic. She calls it her like spiritual awakening dash breakdown. I'm not saying that we all will have that, but that we can then really start working with things that maybe aren't that comfortable. And so her second book is called Daring Greatly, which means if we realize that we have mistakes, we have to be very courageous to use her words, to rumble with the information that we're being given. So Daring Greatly then is her second book, and it shows you how we need to be very courageous to look at ourselves very authentically. She follows that book by a book called Rising Strong, which is we've seen our imperfections, we've had a bit of an all fall down, and now how do we rise above it? How do we come out of it again? So hence the title of Rising Strong. Her next book then is relatively recent, and it's called Braving the Wilderness, which is all about what happens when we dare, in fact, to be different. Once we've now realized our authenticity, who we are, we're quite confident that we're different, we embrace it fully, then braving the wilderness means that we then stand up for ourselves, maybe in not a very popular way. So, you know, it might be a question of drawing boundaries with our friends or our family that maybe are not kind of popular as far as society is going. So those are the 4 books that I recommend hugely. They are the most amazing books, and once again, you can get them on zlibrary.org, which is z-lib.org, where you can download a huge number of books in PDF format, and there's no charge. The last book that Brene has written is geared for business owners, corporates, and it's called Dare to Lead, where what she's saying is, as far as leadership is concerned, we've all in the past, we've gone on the wrong road where we've believed we have to be totally without emotion. We just have to make the decisions that are financially driven and logically driven. And what she's saying is, when we do that, we lose our soul. So our leadership in our businesses and basically in our world needs to have emotion. And that is the gist behind her book, Dare to Lead. So hence again, Brene Brown, amazing author. Her first book is I thought it was just me. That's the scientific, researchy one. Then The Gifts of Imperfection, Daring Greatly, Rising Strong, Braving the Wilderness, and if you are a leader in any way, her latest book is called Dare to Lead. It's a feast for you if you start reading these books. Enjoy.